All right. Wait. It says preparing now.
Says it's live now.
Word. Well, we can go ahead and start then.
Okay, thank you, Max. I would like to call this planning board meeting of Waldeboro Wednesday, June 10th to order. We have a quorum. We have myself, Jim Russo, Johnny Cosno, Barbara Boardman, and Sarah Hotchkiss.
Hold on. We're getting an echo again.
We have myself, Jim.
Sorry.
That's okay. And we have our secretary, Susan, and Waldeboro Town Planner, Max, is with us, as well as applicants and a member of the populace. So are there any adjustments to the agenda that anyone needs to cover? Okay, I see no indication. So citizens' comments, are there any citizens' comments unrelated to the applications at hand? Okay, there being none. We have the minutes of the last board meeting from May 13th. Did everyone get a chance to review those?
Yep.
Any questions or comments on the minutes of the last meeting?
They look good to me.
If I took a look, they look fine.
Okay, there being nothing, could I have a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting, May 13th?
So moved.
I second it.
Motion made and seconded. Any other last chance for comments or questions on that?
Who's the mover, please, Mr. Chairman?
Jim made the motion and Barbara seconded.
Thank you.
All in favor indicate, say aye, raise your hand. Aye, all opposed?
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you. Okay. Any old business? I don't believe there's any old business. Anything, Max, that we need to cover on old business?
Old business? No. I think we
Okay.
can go straight to the meeting.
Okay. So we have a application from Hillside Collision. Scott Murray, I see you are here. If you could bring us through this, make a little introduction, we would appreciate that. Thank you.
Welcome. Hopefully it's not too loud and quiet. Scott Murray from Waldeboro, Maine. Looking to add a second page inside of my building, which will require a small addition out back. So I say small, 30 by 50, depending upon that could be adjusted. So the intent is to improve the ability for us to produce in our car repairs. We do towing, mechanical, and collision that would obviously impact the collision side of it. We just need to become more efficient in that, and also at the same time allow us to replace or supplement the paint booth that we have now that's was built in 1989. It's a little scary to have that be my primary paint booth. And the intent is just to further continue a business that started back in 1970 with Peter Richards and then my father, who came later. I don't really know where you want me to go with that or how much you want to elaborate on it. So hopefully the board will guide me as to what you're looking at for information. So.
I have a question.
Yes.
Looking at the bottom of the application summary, Max says, did you make up that summary list? Yeah, Max
Yeah.
did. At the bottom, the comment section, it does say original building footprint in use predates the land use ordinance. So would you describe the differences? When you say it predates, how is it different than if like this were a new project now, for instance? Because it seems like it has the setback it needs already. So what would be the issue?
Do you want me to clarify that? I just meant that the building itself, like what exists there, was built before then. And I'm just
Oh,
saying,
okay.
this
It's
isn't a
just
brand new building.
A general statement? Okay. All right. I just wondered if there's something specific.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Please, go ahead.
Well, it's more of a procedural question, but do you, if you're a member of the planning board, do you recuse yourself if you have like a relationship with the person who's coming before the board?
Well,
That depends. Max, do you have a comment?
I feel every member here is capable of making the decision on their own. It's not something I like to force on them. I think when Odd
Right.
Alewives came here for their commercial kitchen, there were a few members who said they were patrons there and they didn't know if they had to recuse themselves.
Right.
I guess it's the extent of how much you want to do. If you're business partners with them, then you probably should recuse
Right.
yourself. But if you
Well,
just
could I clarify it, Max? It's not like it's a huge thing, but Mr. Murray, I had a car accident and he took care of my car and he did a great job. So it's not like it's anything bad. It's just that I was wondering if there's a policy, like if you had a good experience or bad experience, do you recuse yourself from voting? So that was my point, and I just want to be transparent and honest.
What I've seen and read about on other planning boards is if one of the members has a direct business interest and ownership position, that they recuse themselves, but a normal business relationship in terms of a customer and a supplier.
Yes.
We'd be recusing ourselves all the time. So I
I
think.
think that's
Okay,
correct.
okay.
Or
Yeah,
a
I think-
family member or something like that.
That's,
So
yes.
Yeah, I don't think
Okay.
customer patron, qualifies.
And in the past, there's
Okay.
also been like business and neighborly dispute type reasons that people recuse. There's few reasons, but just business, as Jim said, just because you did business with them in the past doesn't need to be recused.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I was, that was a.
Record, I'm glad it happened.
Okay. All right, thank you.
I'm just gonna step out of the
I've
room.
got Scott, I have a question for you. Looking at this sketch,
Yes,
it shows paint booth here. Is that the existing or the addition? And if it's not the addition to the new paint booth, where is that going to be located?
The existing paint booth is on there, and the new one will be adjacent it. And then what we're gonna put, we're updating our furnace, which is currently oil-based. It's an oil burner, and we're gonna go, which is cleaner. And we're gonna have the two booths side by side. And then in the addition, the first part is gonna be both burners. So we're gonna replace the existing burner, put the new booth in its position, but it's gonna be larger. And then we're gonna move the new burners outside in the addition. So they'll be side by side. I don't know how else, I think I answered your question.
Yes, yeah, it was just a clarification.
Trying to maintain, when we do this, we're gonna have, and in the addition, both burners, we're gonna add storage. Our parts will be loaded out back. I'm trying to take and clean up the front of the shop as far as flow goes, and utilize what happens over the course of 35 years is you incrementally add on. You can't put the existing footprint was added on to now 3 times. And that's what has to happen in a business. You just can't pull out $300,000 or $500,000 out of your pocket. So you do it incrementally. And this is the next step to giving us 2 booths, increasing our efficiency. It will actually, again, I'm getting rid of an oil burner that was built in '89, going propane cleaner, and it will be more reliable. So I'm doing it for multiple reasons, but that's one of them.
So
I
the
have one
total
more
lot
question.
the total lot size is 200 by 200? Is that correct?
Must be
Cool.
bigger. No?
No, it's bigger than that. Let me give you the dimension.
Oh, I was looking at the deed you have here, sort of describes it as 200. No, I see. Okay, it's,
It's like 5 acres, if I'm not mistaken.
is that 5 acres?
I don't have that number in front of me.
40-something thousand square feet per acre. I guess what I'm getting at is, what's the total amount of impervious? I know this addition is small, but I'm just trying to understand the total amount of impervious surface that you already have on the site as a percentage of your total lot.
The total acreage is 6.25 acres, 6 1/4.
Okay, and do we know, do you have a number on the total area of buildings and parking surface?
So the original buildings with the additions, 11.7. And probably including parking, we're probably in the ballpark of 15,000.
Square feet?
Yep.
Okay, so,
All of
Less-
the parking out back is dirt. So we have the asphalt in the front between the 2 buildings. But most of my driveway on the back side is dirt.
yes, if it's hard pack, then it could be considered impervious. Is that correct, Max?
Sorry, I'm going through a few things here.
I think with a lot that size, with these kind of numbers, based on this, it's fine. It's just that there are restrictions on the amount of, percent of impervious surface.
70%.
Yeah, so I think we think you're way with 6.25 acres. If you double your 15,000 square feet, you're still far below that.
Well, it's
Okay,
not, certainly not double, but
yeah. Okay. So, but there is a brook on the property. Where is, I think that's to the south side of the buildings?
it would be to the north. It would be coming across the property that the kennel above,
Okay,
coming off of what is a Winton Badger's property up on the hill.
and is it heading west? The brook flows west?
It flows towards Dow Furniture.
Yeah, okay.
I don't, whether that's west or not, I couldn't tell you, but
Well, it's down, well, that's sort of downhill is almost south, I guess.
Pretty west.
Yeah, west. So does the brook end up in that lake that's on the other side of the,
Kayla Pond.
yeah, Caleb Pond? Okay. And how far is that from your active business?
Gonna guess a half a mile.
Because it's on the border, it's on the boundary of the property, is what you're saying?
No,
Okay,
no, you've got across the street Freddie Store owns. And then if you go down towards Dana's, out behind there, a significant way is the pond. So it's down beyond Dana's, quite a ways back there, but it's
okay.
not,
On
it's
the
certainly,
north side of Route 1.
Right. I think the question is, where is it in relation to your buildings and parking? Where does it pass on over your 6 acres? Or pass through?
We're not talking about Kaler's Pond, right? We're talking about a nearby brook.
Right, the brook that's on the property,
The brook is to the north of me.
north of you. Okay, so that's sort of uphill, actually, isn't it? North of you is, going north on Route 1 is uphill from you.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
you all know where Peregrine.
I'm sorry, you broke up a little bit.
If you all know where Peregrine Kennel is, it's between Peregrine Kennel and our shop to the north.
Okay. And so that's a good ways up. What you're saying is it's a ways up the hill
Yes.
from the buildings.
It would be a stretch to call it a brook, to be honest with you.
Okay,
I guess that would be probably the wrong term, but the water runoff, it's a stream, it's seasonal.
okay.
Right now, it's probably dry.
Hmm.
It certainly does run pretty strong in the spring.
Okay, but again, it's uphill from you and it's going crossing Route 1. It's heading towards Route 1, the flow,
Yes.
right? Okay,
My booth is going to be added to the back of my property, which is away from the brook. If you want
Yeah.
to use,
Mhm.
Can I ask a question, please?
please.
Scott, this question is directed, I'm trying to figure out, so you have two paint booths that you're more efficient if you exhaust those fumes. How is the fumes scrubbed, or how is that, where does the fumes go?
so back up. I have one paint booth, and we actually,
Yeah.
it's a paint booth, which is actually filtered. It has pre-filters and it has exhaust filters.
Right,
So it's like our original booth came from Italy.
right,
Company called Blowtherm. Most paint
Okay.
booths you'll find in the community, whether in our town or
Yeah.
adjacent, are homemade, and they have just exhaust filters. We have a
I see.
pre and an exhaust filter. So what I'm trying to do is, obviously with the new toy, you're going to use it more. A booth built in 2020 is going to have much greater standards than one built in 1989. It's not like the other design. Compared to other places in town, it's way more efficient than what others have.
Right,
But I don't want to I'm not going to build a concrete cube, put some exhaust filters in it. We also do, it bakes. So it's like a big oven. So you bring it in, floor filters, it circulates through the pre-filter, back through the ceiling filter. And when we're done, then you bake it. So the second booth makes me more efficient in volume. Having a propane burner, which burns cleaner, which brand new, and both of them will be brand new, will be more efficient than something that was built as an oil furnace back in 1980.
right.
So I'll be more efficient.
You're essentially incinerating the fumes, but does some of that particulate matter get out into the atmosphere? And how are your workers protected? Do they wear HEPA filters and other workers in and around that area?
So the booth is sealed. Nothing gets out. I'm sure you have to say some gets out. It's impossible to say nothing. Otherwise, we wouldn't be in a coronavirus world. But
Right,
my painter has a forced air system. So he's wearing a suit, a hood, and he has forced air, which is pumped in separately.
okay,
So he's well protected.
okay.
So
All right.
not that it matters, but the theme seems to be environmental, so I'll touch on it. Probably a decade ago, the second shop in the state, which switched to water-based paint.
Right.
We were having trouble with color match. We went with water-based. So all of our color is water. So we're not using solvents. So not only we not breathing it, we're not using it as a solvent, and it's not going back into a waste fill. So
I see.
most people don't understand that your car is actually painted with a sealer, water-based paint for the color, and then put on top of it. We've been doing it for over a decade.
Which country made this booth?
Same one. You don't
Italy?
go, yep, it's coming from Italy,
Wow.
which may be a little slower than it's supposed to be because
Yeah,
So can I ask you a question too? Your comments say something about a fence. Can you point to this and you're going to screen something with a fence, but I don't understand where you're
So-
talking.
in talking to Max, he was concerned about lighting, exterior lighting affecting traffic.
Hmm.
On the south side of me, down towards Dana Dow, there's actually a ledge, and there's plenty of tree line there. But
Yeah.
because of his concern, put a bug in my ear. Like I'm going to put it's not there now. It's going to be added from the back of my building, from the back of the office, out to the parking lot. There's going to be a fence.
Okay.
So, and it's nothing I was thinking about it, but Matt brought it to my attention. It was in conversation, him trying to like get me through the process of this, just advising me like, okay, northbound traffic visibility, we're gonna have extra lights. He wanted to make sure I wasn't gonna create a nuisance to the traffic.
Okay.
I don't think you could ever see it. Most people, when they go northbound, don't even know we exist.
Right.
I used to have landmarkers to even get them to me because of the light there, but I agree that it should be installed.
okay.
Have we had any comments from any abutters or neighbors?
Well,
We-
go ahead, Max.
I was going
Someone's here.
I was going to say there are two neighbors who asked for the application, and I did. One of them is Bonnie. I believe the other is this LC person who is trying to connect their audio right now. But I did. So they are attending right now, and they will speak when the planning board is done with their questions, or unless you want to just jump ahead and do that now.
Nope, just in
Um,
due course, that's fine.
is
Yeah,
just a quick question
Yeah.
though. 832-8133, is that Sarah again?
Yeah, I got disconnected and I had to call in again.
All right. Okay.
so, I do have one other item, which is, you've requested some waivers. And I guess I would say one of the, and your letter requests the stormwater management program since the building predated the current requirements. I'm not that amenable to, I don't want to put it that way, in that I think because the building is older and was prior to the ordinance does not obviate the ordinance applying to whatever might happen. For example, there are houses that don't meet our current shoreland zoning that are in the shoreland zone, and there are limitations imposed on additions and things that can do because they're out of compliance. There's nothing that I know about that I can read into any of this that indicates that you're out of compliance on anything. But rather than say that we're going to waive that, it appears that this relative, that's one of the reasons why I asked that question about the total acreage, and that your addition is basically essentially increasing your impervious percentage, but you are far, far below the requirement in the land use ordinance that would cause you a limitation on that from a stormwater standpoint. So I think we're okay there. So,
Well, God, if I can jump in.
yes, please.
The other reason that this is like one of the first summaries where I've split things between not applicable and waiver.
Uh-huh.
With the stormwater management plan, you'll notice the first comment I had in my summary also included that the new drain gutters will attach to the existing gutters. This is something I spoke with Scott about beforehand. Any rainwater that's going to go down is going to be dropped off where it's already being dropped off, or in the
Yep.
Right.
culvert off to the side. So that's why I put that all in there. And Scott can explain it a bit more if you like.
Sure.
I think his fear is just having wording which opens up for future conversations where it's pre-existing, we don't want to necessarily have that wording. I think is where his concern is.
Yeah, I think,
Where I will add is, did you want to comment?
no, I think that's a correct,
Yeah.
correct, that's where I was going, that I would say the fact that you're linking that into your current drainage makes it an acceptable solution, not that we're waiving the whole thing.
Correct. So the other thing I was going to add is the size of the building was in that same impervious. So I'm basically removing an area that was shedding water before. It's not like I'm taking topsoil and removing it.
Right, good point.
It's going along the parking lot in the back of the building. So it's
Right.
the roof line's covering parking lot. It's not like I'm going back into the tree line.
Got it.
That's the best I.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank
that's
you.
clear.
Yep.
So I would like to say, Max, I'm not sure, I hate to have applicants spend more money than they have to do a project and move forward. And Max, I guess I don't quite see why if you asked for a fence here, given that they're 100 feet back from the road, and I'm sure all the lights can be down lights anyway. I'm not sure what a 6 or 8 foot fence is really going to do for northbound traffic that far back and with that tree line there. So personally, I don't see why you'd be required to have a fence. Maybe Stan would say something different, but looking at the ordinances, that's not the type of screening that we usually discuss for that kind of screening. It's really when your parking lot is right next to a neighbor's property, or your dumpsters are, or something like that, that we kind of bring up that screening issue.
You want to leave it open to Stan coming back upon review?
I'm just saying, I'm just bringing it up to the rest of the board. Does anybody else see that this project needs a fence?
Well, Max, could you describe what your recommendation was, what was behind that, a little more detail?
So maybe it was a bit of miscommunication. I did mention that you need to consider the light and you need to consider the buffering and screening requirements. And a fence is usually the solution, but that tends to only be if the planning board requests it. We could certainly have Stan go. This could be a condition where Stan goes out and he gives his 2 cents on the matter. This is also something, just because this is a commercial property on Route 1, and there are some neighbors nearby. I didn't know if they wanted to have any say on this matter, but the fence is something that could be taken out. I was just thinking more about, it was more of just me saying if that is a requirement that the planning board wants. So if you're not asking for it, then it can certainly be taken out.
Because
Well,
the
I would-
the in and out's all the same. The parking spots are all the same. The vegetation's all the same with this addition. So I don't see the need.
So it's not the same. What Scott plans to do, though, is to add security lights in that back area. And those security lights would probably be way up above a 6-foot fence anyway, so the fence would be ineffective. But I
Right.
think a requirement to make sure that whatever lights are installed don't create a traffic hazard for folks coming southbound because I think it's the southbound side that you're going to see it, or is it northbound?
Northbound.
Okay. That it just doesn't create a problem. You're probably so far off the road, you're not going to create a problem. But I think having a provision in there to ensure that just generally is worthwhile.
I'm com-
Downlights.
Yeah,
com-
downlights, if you have downlights, you're probably not gonna have an issue, and if it's not broken, don't fix it.
Okay, works for me.
Any other-
I'll interject. I think Max was more concerned about, he's been so helpful that he was like, hey, this may be concerning. And I was like, let's do it. So it's,
Stay
Is that
ahead of the curve.
I don't think he was trying at an expense. I think he was just trying to make sure that everyone were met. And I was certainly open to doing it. Hey, I'd love it if we just do it as a, we check back in on it, condition, have Stan come out and look at it. Downlights, as you said, works great for me. So I just want to kind of,
Okay,
it wasn't like he was pushing it or forcing it upon me. I was open to it.
Okay.
Right.
any other questions or comments from the board at this point before we open it to the abutters?
I have one question, Scott.
Go ahead.
Yes.
And again, because I work in the health field in this pandemic and all that, it says you wanted to complete it by November 15th because you need to, the booth heat exchangers need to be closed in before inclement weather. What happens if you get inclement weather and some things are delayed because of this? How do you plan to address that?
So the foundation and the concrete work will be done well in advance of that. That's not going to be delayed. The arrival of the
Okay.
booth, construction of it, I could do it. All I need, all they requested I do was a doghouse for the addition of this. When I added the booth, they said you can put a doghouse up. So I can do that temporarily just and so the dates early. When will we get inclement weather? I'm hoping January. But
Okay.
we're in May, so I chose a date.
Okay.
Okay, I
Anything-
don't have any more questions.
Okay. So I'd like to open it up to any comments from the
Public.
floor, from citizens. Any, I think, I know Bonnie is on. Can you? Believe that you're muted. Maybe you could,
And Bonnie, you can also turn on your
Yourself?
camera if you'd like.
Well, I could turn on my camera, then you'd see my dirty house.
Hey, you see mine.
oh, I should be, yeah.
All right, let's see if this is okay. Yeah, we'll allow you. Hi, I really, hello, everybody. I think, nice to meet you. Just really wanted to listen in. But we haven't had a chance to meet. Nice to meet you. Keep your yard nice and clean. We appreciate papers. You let me borrow your phone the other day when he lost his cell phone. Thank you very much. So I'm really here just to and see what's happening in the town. Who was trying to call in is my sister Elsie, who's living in with my nephew. But more, it was to meet you all and to hear what's going on.
Well, that's nice. Thank you for coming. It's good to have citizens here.
Happy to
Very
be here.
good.
And you really do see my dirty house.
You don't have to see it.
Well, honestly, all I could really see was your ceiling, so,
Yeah. That's by design.
So Bonnie, real quick, it was kind of tough to let your tenant use a phone during the pandemic. That was a challenge.
I really, really do. Otherwise, he would have walked to Biddeford. I don't know how that would have worked.
No,
So,
I went out to one of the phones close to the area and we managed. So
thank you very much.
you're welcome.
you. Do we have anything else? Any other questions or comments? I will, while people are thinking if they have any more. I have two things that I've captured that I believe ought to be included as contingencies for this approval. And they're somewhat related. But unless someone objects, I like the idea of having Stan take a look, Scott's offered a suggestion that if we want to make that conditional, or whether it was Max, but conditional on the CEO looking at it to see whether offenses would actually be helpful or not. And the other is to a contingency that any security lights added to the back would be such that they would not create any traffic issue. Is that a fair summary?
I think that's a fair summary. I think it's things that the CEO would cover anyway.
Mhm.
So.
Yep.
For a permit.
But I think it would be worthwhile to note those so that Stan would know that. It would just be aware of that at the time. So what's the general feeling about including those?
Can I ask one other thing? It would be nice on the paperwork if the lot size is it on the application? The lot size was mentioned and, a guesstimate on the lot coverage with the addition.
Yep.
Some kind of rough, just so it's noted somewhere.
Yeah, I agree. Those were the two things that the total lot acreage and the total area of use, the buildings and the parking lot would be valuable to have.
Just for the record, yeah.
Yeah.
The two conditions.
The only other thing I'd add that should be included somewhere, probably in the application, as Scott mentioned, is that the addition is going the area where the addition is going is currently impervious land or impervious ground, and actually collecting the runoff of the addition into the gutter system and running it away from the property is an improvement to the drainage system. That doesn't add any more load to the drainage system.
Right.
But earlier, weren't we talking about the back being dirt anyway? So is that considered impervious? I'm not clear on that. The front is asphalt, the back is.
Well, if it's not, if it's a typical dirt parking lot, it's packed and is impervious.
It's considered impervious, okay.
I think so.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? Max, you were going to say something?
I was going to say, can you repeat these? I think they were conditions again.
Was that
Susan's got it.
that Stan would the CEO would make an evaluation on whether a fence would be advisable, and that the new security lights that are being added to the back would not create would be set up or ameliorated in such a way as to not to create any traffic issues. I mean, both of these things are unlikely, I think, based on what we understand, but I still think they're worthwhile to have in there. Is that okay, Scott?
Of course. I'm good with it.
Okay.
The second condition was adding in into the documents, just what.
I didn't get your second condition, please, Mr. Chairman Scott, about the security lights to be arranged what?
So that they would not, such that they will not create a traffic issue.
Thank you.
And Max, you were asking about it was the total, what we wanted was, and that could be just on the thing that we sign, is the total, because that would add to the documentation, is the total acreage of the lot and the total area of the buildings plus parking. Or at least crudely, I mean, the percentage wise, it's a small percentage of the total. So an estimate would be, I mean, you don't have to get a surveyor to measure.
Just an
it.
estimate. I
Just
mean,
an estimate would be sufficient.
you can even just add it information, handwrite it in there.
Right.
If this is what you're submitting. Yeah.
And then
Okay.
and then was the third item, I feel there was another item that Jim brought up about the stormwater. Or was that
No,
just,
that was already, I think we were just discussing that the addition is going to reduce the parking, and that water from that roof is going to be added to the gutter system of the current building in the way that water is handled. So it's not adding to any stormwater load.
But my point, Scott, was it would be good to have that specifically spelled out in the application, perhaps a bit more than it is, just as part of our due diligence.
Okay, because I remember seeing that was happening.
There's a bit there. It's just a little more detail might, would help.
Okay,
But this isn't a pre-app, this is an application.
Yeah.
So we have the application, so where does that go? I'm wondering about the procedure of it.
You're asking
It
Max.
just goes in the minutes? Yeah, is that,
would go in
Yes, the
As
minutes,
record?
Yeah,
the
we'll go in the
minutes would be
minutes.
fine.
it would go in
Yeah.
the minutes
Yeah.
and
okay,
and I think that it's where it says in the comments is, I know what Jim is going for some more detail, but in the comments, it is at least sufficiently covered. where it says new drain gutters will attach to the existing gutters, which will divert stormwater to existing runoff points.
I think even, give me a second, I think that's even mentioned. Yeah, it's even mentioned in Scott's application on the second page. On
Okay,
yeah,
start of
bottom
the last-
paragraph.
Yep, last paragraph. We will be installing gutters on the new addition to tie in with the existing gutter system, which sheds water off the back of the property.
Excellent,
But I don't know
I think we're good.
we're
Right.
good,
and
we're good.
And again, I would say that in the application where we are, we're not saying that the stormwater management plan is a waiver. We're just saying that the
It's
system
handled
that he's
by the-
proposing is going to comply.
Okay. There's another document that I am now doing. I started it back in January, where I take your decision and I make sure to put that all out in just another summary. So it's
Oh,
sort
great.
of a separate document that'll stay with the application as well.
Okay. Good.
So I'll make sure to keep a note of that.
Okay.
Can I have one last word?
Yes, you may.
Real quick, I'd like to thank everyone because this is obviously new to you. You all put a lot of time and effort into it. But I'd really like to thank Max because for me not doing this before, I've been here since 92, but I've never been part of an addition. It was done prior to me getting. I think he's done an incredible job trying to help me get through this process. And I can see in the meeting, he's doing an incredible job trying to pull a bunch of people together who don't have the ability to pull it all together. So,
Yep.
Max, I appreciate it greatly.
No problem, Scott, and I'll talk
Well,
more about
we appreciate Max as well, but you shouldn't thank the board yet because we haven't voted.
Whether you my
twist ending.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
So is there, if there's any other questions or comments, I'd like to have someone would make a motion to approve with the contingencies noted.
I move we approve.
I second it.
Tim, or not Tim, sorry. Ted, you're muted, just so you're aware.
That's right. He could wave if give a thumbs up or down.
Yep, hold on. Yeah, Ted, you can just like give a thumbs up if you approve.
Yeah.
Thumbs down if you, or no.
Oh, there we go. Looks like you unmuted, Ted.
Found it.
Hi, Ted.
Hello, indeed.
How are you? Okay, so we've had a motion made and seconded to accept the Hillside Collision application with a couple of contingencies as recorded. All those in favor say aye, or in a,
I
Just
Aye.
raise your hand, and
Sarah,
opposed? Any?
Sarah,
Sarah?
is it yay or nay? Sarah?
Yeah, I said yay. You didn't hear me.
Great. Now we were all talking at the same time. Much easier in
Yeah.
person. Any opposed? Motion carried.
Who
Okay,
are the maker and seconder of this motion, please?
Jim made the motion.
and
Johnny
Barbara,
seconded it.
John,
Yeah,
Johnny.
I second it. Yeah, yes, I did, yeah.
Okay, thank
yep,
you.
great. Okay, so you are all set. Scott, thank you very much. And you
Thank-
are most welcome to remain for the rest of the meeting as you wish, but we will also not take it personally if you depart. And the same thing for Bonnie. We are very happy that you attended. And likewise for you, you're welcome to stick around.
And
So can they actually see it on YouTube right now, or the
Yeah, we're live
YouTube part
streaming.
happens,
we're live streaming.
it's live streaming? Okay,
Yeah.
Whew.
that's scary.
It's no different from what you've been doing the whole time.
It is scary.
we're-
Yeah,
what we're like
no, I
here.
know,
Yeah,
but
But now
still.
I know.
And Scott, Scott, for you with everything else, I'll get the rest of the paperwork done and I'll give you a copy for when the planning board members sign it. It's probably not going to be this week because I have to run and do other things when this meeting's over. So, but I'll tell the members that later.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. You have done a good job.
Thank you. Have a good
Okay,
night.
thank you. Okay, I'd like to move us along to a pre-application for, and this is Matt Moody. I see Mr. Moody is here, and this is for RV and boat storage. So this is a pre-app. So Matt, perhaps you could introduce yourself and tell us about this.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm Matthew Moody, a lifetime resident of Waldeboro here for 50 years. And currently I'm a lobster fisherman and have a lot of family ties to town through the motel and the diner and stuff. And this is an RV and boat storage business has been something I've been thinking about and contemplating for the last 3 to 4 years. And now with another setback to the lobster industry, it's maybe time to start up the income. Currently we have a contract to purchase the Hendrickson Roofing property on Route 1 out of Moose Crossing.
Oh, yeah.
That I think it's 2818 Atlantic Avenue. There's an address out there. It's been for sale for quite a few years. But anyhow, we're looking at that to put in, specialize in more, like I said, boats, RVs, automobiles. My ultimate goal in having this business is to have 3 to possibly 4 buildings to store boats, RVs, vehicles in, primarily in the off season from September through May, June. At least to start with, these buildings won't be heated. It's just cold, like a cold storage. Eventually, maybe see how things go. I might heat one of them in the future if need arises and people request that. But and then also along with indoor storage, whatever I can do around the sides of them. I know some people just cover their boats. We just want a place to park them for the winter, so I would do some outdoor storage too. A little bit of that. So that's what I'm looking to do.
Where are you in relation to Moose Crossing? Will you explain that to me?
Yes, it would be on the west side of the Moose Crossing as you start up the hill. There's a small, I think it's 20 by 20 office in that field area already. It used to be Ross Electronics.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yep. So
Was there been quite a bit of excavation on that property already?
yeah, they started. It looks like they had cleared maybe to put a building in, then stopped. They've also put in some sort of cement abutment structure. It looks
Right.
like dumpsters to put shingles or roofing material in to haul off.
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty cleared.
But a
You've
lot of
got-
contouring lot to deal with, I
Hmm.
think, right? A lot of grade changes to deal with.
Uh,
If I get that right.
Really, I had a contractor out there the other day looking at it for the earthwork, especially into the west side of the driveway, into the west of the office. It's pretty level. That's where I'd probably put a first building in. Again, it's some, and then we talked about possibly stepping them down as the grade goes down to the east, to the east of the building there.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's my plan is one building. See how things go, 2, 3, 4 years. Also put in another one, and then down the road, like I said, kind of a 10-year plan of expansion.
So the road cut is all the same? It's the road in and
Correct.
off the highway?
Correct.
So the thing, yeah, the thing that the planning board has dealt with storage places is that there's a heck of a lot of hardscape, for vehicles to move in and out. So that would be a big part of the information, like, how that works, where all that water goes, and total lot coverage. I think we'd be, we're in a different area. Are we on commercial A here?
Yes, this
It's commercial A, so, maximum 70%. I'm not really sure what size overall the lot is, but there would be, I would think, to move a boat around and to store boats outside as well as in, quite a bit of hard pack. So it'll be just part of your plan, your
Right.
planning.
Yep.
Yeah, because that'll be your limitation. The lot. But how big is the lot? I mean, that would be one of the things that we
Money
would
right now.
want to know. You don't have to tell us now, but I mean, for a real application,
I got
the
the
total lot size, the total area that you plan to make impervious,
Right.
and just recognize that it would be useful just on a personal level for you to understand as you hope to expand that business, hopefully that might ultimately become a limitation, is how much you can put on that lot. So
Right.
that's just something to keep in
Yeah.
mind.
It's 5.1 acres. This
Okay.
lot. And I actually have. I met with the budding owner who sold it, Mitch Ross. I met with him the other day to show me the property lines.
Uh-huh.
And I've talked to him, and as again thinking down the road of expanding, I had chatted with him briefly about if he'd be willing to sell any more of his property. He owns, I thought he said another 11 or 12 acres in that property.
Okay.
And he said, yeah, he would definitely consider selling some more property in the future to me. He said actually he's looking to slow down and enjoy life in the next 5 to 10 years. So
Okay. Is there a house on that property, or is there anything on the rest of that lot, his lot?
In Mitch's lot, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has his house and his electronics business still.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, so he's also commercial, because I know we chatted about that. That's why the property line wasn't quite where I thought it was, because he needed the road frontage, I guess, the 400 feet of road frontage. So they'd move the property line down a little bit from what they originally was thinking about on this.
Okay.
They broke it off. But.
Yeah.
I've got
Question,
two
Matt?
topics real quick, if I may.
Go ahead, Jim.
One is just generally, I know whenever I drive by there and I see the mess that was left behind by Hendrickson Roofing and a pile of shingles in the back. Matt, would you have any plans to clear that out and clean it up as part of your improvements to the property?
Yeah, actually, that's in my contract I've signed with them. That they have to remove all the shingles from the property. That's part of the contract I have drawn up with them right now. So hopefully that will be happening. It will be removed, and also I plan on fixing up the building also. I'll probably use it for some sort of office, I guess,
Sure, yeah.
you know, in the future, but
Mhm.
But my other concern is traffic getting in and out of there and up onto Route 1, hauling a boat, going up that hill, or an RV trying to get the head of steam. I believe that enters on Route 1 just before it goes to the low speed lane, right? It's only
Correct.
2 lanes there. You don't have the 3 where
Mhm.
where that drive is.
right. I've got a picture here. It looks like, yes, it's just before it starts to widen out, I believe the entrance is.
I would be interested to see what the main dot has to say about that. They may want to bring that 3rd lane back more, or do something to make sure folks can get on the road safely, especially if they're heading south.
Okay. I talked with the DOT last week. And I think I forwarded on the entrance permit. And, the gentleman from the DOT said that this is a very old entrance permit, and it's under different classifications than what current ones are. He says it's labeled as industrial commercial. I told him my plans, and I believe Max, did you receive that email from the DOT I forwarded?
Yes, I did get your email on the entrance application. Yes, I did get it.
Okay.
I'll forward that to everyone right now.
So you're waiting to hear back from them? Is that?
No, when I spoke to him, he did not see an issue with
Oh, okay.
With traffic, and he put that in his email.
Okay, great. Okay.
With the DOT.
Because it's hard to see. I mean, I'm just looking at the pictures of the road on the Google map thing, and it's, the guardrail actually curves in and makes a nice entrance for you. I just wondered about the width of that.
Right.
Whether but he didn't think that was a problem. That's
No,
good.
he said if it doesn't work for you, he said if you want to widen it, he told me, about going through a process, and he says approximately about $10,000 to pay the DOT to widen the entrance, change the guide rail or entrance width
Okay.
there. But he said it was one of those things that you just, if it works for you, it works for you. If it doesn't, then that's what
Okay.
you're up.
Because it looks pretty well done. It's just as long as it's wide enough for the boats that you're trying to get in and out.
Right, yeah. I don't plan on doing like large boats, something that trailable boats that people would bring in themselves.
Okay.
Necessarily commercial,
Yep.
well, fishing boats or sailboats or large sailboats anyhow. I want to. That's not the avenue I want to force that type of storage. So,
Okay.
I've been talking to a gentleman up in Belgrade, Belgrade Marine and RV storage, and he's helped me out a lot. And he said actually business has transitioned to probably 80 to 60% RVs now, which was, I thought boat storage was, and he said actually RV storage is, RV campers and motorhomes.
Yep.
Anyhow.
Question, if I could?
Yes, go ahead.
Just in general, Matt, do you have any environmental or aesthetics concern about this place? I mean, you get a whole bunch of these RVs and boats, and is it going to look okay? Is it will it leak oil or anything of that nature?
That like I said, my plan is mostly indoor storage. So I plan on doing metal buildings and metal roofs, metal siding. Right now, Viking Lumber is designing. I'm in the design process right now with them. And so, actually, I can't remember. I've sketched up on the map of the property here about how I would lay the buildings out, and to the east of the, it'd be the east of the office building there. My first one, I would like to go parallel to Route 1.
Right.
And so, you know, what I would store, and Max had mentioned the 100-foot setback from Route 1. So, and actually that works about perfect by the time you take the grade and where it actually starts to flatten out. I'd run parallel, exactly. Most of the buildings I want to go 120 feet long. So what storage would be to the inland side, I guess the north side of the building. So
So you come
As
in
far
to the
as-
narrow side, you enter, everything enters the narrow side and comes through the
yes,
building?
yep,
Okay.
yep. The first design I've got is a 14 by 20 overhead door on one end with an entrance door, and then on the other end, the same thing, a 14 by 20 foot wide roll up door.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Well, I think it's a good idea to use the buildings as kind of a screen for your outdoor storage,
Mhm.
as terms of
Right.
the plan, because I'm thinking, you know, what I remember about that site, and certainly what it looks like from your Google Earth picture here, that there isn't much screening from Route 1. And as businesses populate Route 1, we basically are trying to end up coming away from this decade, you know, as we move forward with better looking Route 1 through Waldoboro as we
Mhm.
can. So I guess it makes me wonder, you know, we've talked about different kinds of screenings for different properties, and whether it's plantings or it's actually our current ordinance is kind of vague about it, but you know, it's nice to think about, like, not everybody likes to look at white wrapped boats for, you know, all the time. So that kind of stuff, and it's moving all the time, and there's this and that, and there's jacks and there's whatever. So it'd be nice to, a lot of that stuff, if it works for your business plan, to kind of be behind the building, then it's less of an issue for anybody,
Right,
your
right,
neighbors or whatever.
right.
Ed, you were going to ask a question?
I was wondering what he's going to have available for water supply, for washing boats perhaps, and boat maintenance.
Good point.
Right. Right now, currently, there is no water on the property. Right now, I don't plan on offering that as a service until I get water there. Basically, people are going to bring them in and drop them off, and they'll come back in the spring and pick them up. I don't have time. I'm not really into the service business, so my right now, eventually down the road, if I get water there, that's something that we would probably definitely offer as a service, as washing the boats, cleaning them or whatever, and storing them. But right now, like I said, with no water there, that's not really going to be something we offer as a service. So.
Matt, as I understand it, your business model is you're going to have this big metal-sided barn with doors at both ends. Your team will be responsible to get the boats or RVs in. You'll pack them in as much as you can to make best use of the space. Somebody wants their boat out, you'll drag it out for them, because you don't want people going in doing that on their own. Do I understand it right?
Yes, that's right. And my business model is going to be, like I said, I really like the business model of the guy in Belgrade, and he has his setup. He has no office hours. It's by appointment only. You have to give 48 hours notice to drop off or pick up your boat or RV or whatever, and we're just there on an as-need basis. So as far as traffic flow, other than people dropping off and picking up, there won't be much as far as traffic flow goes. And exactly, the doors are closed, all the time. definitely have a security system in place. So,
My only experience with a place like this is in Texas, and it was set up a bit differently. It's more like the storage places that you see, but they were just sized large enough that you can stick a boat in a trailer or a RV into it, and you put your own lock on it, and you own it for as long as you want, basically, as you're paying rent.
right.
And you come and go as you please. But it's just a different model. That's all.
Mhm. Right. Yep.
Can I ask that?
Maybe building
sorry.
two. Maybe building two will be something like that.
So can I ask a logistics question, Matt? Since this
Yeah.
is, Max, since this is sort of a phased project, does he submit a plan for the entire property with all the pavement in all three buildings, or does he do one at a time? And how does he proceed?
That would be what depend on what Matt wants to do. Set a 10-year plan. The planning board would focus on what's going to be done in a 1 to 2 year time frame. So changing the use would be the first thing you have to do. And I mean, if he's doing one building, that would in 2 years, then that would be part of it. If he's doing two buildings in it, then it would be those two buildings. But probably have to come back later if he's planning on doing buildings 2 and 3 6 years later.
And at what point would he need a stormwater management plan for something like this, or does he?
Stormwater, well, if Matt plan on, and this is something Matt and I can talk about more as well as he wants to get ready for his application, but if he wants to do it, like get his entire phase plan done now, like saying it's going to be done in 10 years, he can certainly do the stormwater management plan during the first meeting if he'd like for all three buildings, and then he would just come back later when he wants to do the third building. It's a logistics thing that we'd have to talk about more.
Yeah, I would just, my reaction to that is whatever you can do to, in terms of visualizing where you're going, and at least get from some professional an idea of what you don't want to, I'm assuming what you don't want to do is get buildings 1 and 2 done, and then you can't do anymore because your stormwater isn't going to work out or something, or it's
Right.
too expensive. And, you know, I don't know, but Max can help you through that, but it's a question of investment now versus risk of what you might want to do later. But I think we'd certainly want to have an understanding of what's around there and what runoff would be like, and that sort of thing pretty early on, I think. I don't know, what does the rest of the board feel about that?
Parts of that property that are standard bog and a little tricky. That side of the road needs to be very carefully considered.
I just think there's a lot of more impervious surfaces on this lot than, the 3 buildings indicate, especially if you're having doors on both ends. So your design will figure that out, I guess.
And I'll talk with Maine DEP as well about when they want to see stormwater management plans as well.
Great.
Right.
Yep. Just want to make sure you don't run into a problem halfway through where you,
Right. I agree. Yep.
because and as a board, because of as Ted said, the importance of that to us is having an understanding from the beginning, even though you might have to come back later for the other buildings, having a plan in place or information that indicates that it's fun, whatever, that you have a design or you have an approval that would really help us.
Okay.
Gosh, you've got 2 beautiful long metal roofs facing south. You could put some solar on there.
Yeah, exactly. I've been talking to the lady at the SBA. And that's what that's like the second thing she said.
That's another business right on that site.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a
Right.
lot of solar in the town, as the board well knows, and more coming, and it's getting to the point of where there's real financial value to it. So definitely worth thinking about.
Okay.
Any other questions or suggestions for
Matt, when are you
on
thinking
this?
you're going to present, submit your final thing? Is it next month or a couple months or?
Yeah, and, I'm hoping that in next month.
Okay.
Like 45 days till closing on the property. So I'm trying to get as much done so I know what I'm up against and see if my plan is going to work at all before we actually have a closing. So
You're going to be busy.
yeah.
So Max, what's the deadline to get something in for the July meeting?
Let me check about that. That would be. I like a first draft by the 17th, since that's 3 weeks before the next one. But that's
17th of June, which is a week from now.
That's Tuesday.
next Wednesday. It
Oh,
doesn't
Wednesday.
have. It doesn't have to have every single item that we talked about today. It's just more of your narrative, your cover page, just some basic documents to know that you have the building or will have the building. I can go through it all with you probably tomorrow. And
Sounds good.
we need to make sure you have everything by July 1st, because I need to start getting ready to send out notices to neighbors, sending out the packages to the planning board members, and then sending out a notice to the newspaper. Although Alex is in the audience tonight, so he probably is aware of this now.
Oh, now you tell me.
He's been here the whole time.
No, Alex isn't sharing. Everybody's sharing a good view of their ceiling except for Alex.
Where's Alex? Oh, there's Alex.
There he is. There he
All
is.
right.
There's your ceiling. All right.
Part of the
Thanks, Alex.
So sounds good.
Okay.
I wasn't trying to force Alex into this conversation.
No, I know I did. That
no, I
was
get
me. I take full responsibility.
It's not Lincoln County News knowing it's getting that notice in
Yeah.
that edition of the paper. Yeah.
I'm the only one who got out of it because you're just seeing my office right now.
So any
Matt,
other?
any other questions for us?
No. I think you've answered pretty much all of them. I had written down. So
Okay.
Grandfather, grandfather would be very pleased with your expansion.
Great.
I didn't catch all of that.
Said Matt's grandfather would be very pleased with the expansion.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay. Well, great. We appreciate your coming and giving us a pre-app, and good luck putting everything together.
Thank you. Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you very much.
I'll talk to you later about all this, Matt.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks, Max.
Have a good night.
I have a question. Who is Alex that's being talked about? Is Alex Violo on this call? I don't see.
He is.
He is.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. LCN. Yeah.
Yeah, LCN, Alex. Thank you.
So now, so there is one more person who asked if I could call him in for another pre-app. This was someone who contacted me yesterday. He wants to do a pre-application, but I told him that it will depend on our time because we had the application, we had Matt for a pre-application as well. So I guess it's up to the board whether you want me to call him and he explains his pre-application or if you want to just cut it early tonight.
So we're hearing a pre-app, but we have no documents at all.
I don't think I have any documents. It would be similar to Matt where he would just be explaining what he's planning on doing. And this would be at 944 Old Route 1. This is the Patricia Spofford Chicken Farm.
And what's the zone?
This, where he would be doing the project would be rural.
I don't know. What do you guys think? Is it useful to do it? I love visuals myself. Get me
Picture's
grounded.
worth 1,000 words. We'll
Get
all
me
have a different
oriented,
interpretation
yeah.
of this explanation.
It does help focus the conversation.
I mean, if I get him on the phone so he can explain it, do you want me to get a map of his place and then sent out to you guys?
Well, trying to do it on the fly is the issue. We haven't had a chance to review any of it. I'm not opposed to.
Could he do a 5-minute summary and then, but plan on giving us stuff to work with next time?
Well, he would plan
You
on,
think?
he plans on coming in next month for an application as well. So
For a full application.
tonight is more of him just giving a quick idea of what he's doing. If you guys have anything you want him to keep in mind.
I hesitate because whatever we say, if we miss something, because we're not really prepared for a decent pre-app, I don't think we do it justice. It's not the intent of a pre-app.
Right,
If his proposal is simple, get the application and let's look at it next month.
Yeah, because I agree with Jim. I think the purpose of the pre-app is to provide any pre-questions based on the information that we have to help the person prepare and be fully prepared for the application. I'm not sure just an overview with no backup information is going to allow us to do a good job of that. That would be my concern.
Max, is there specific guidance he's looking for if you've talked to him, or is
Yeah, I spoke.
cut and dry?
I did speak to him yesterday. He pretty much just wants to know. I mean, I did talk to him that he wants to do winter car storage. So not exactly what Matt was just talking about a minute ago. He wants to just take an existing building and just allow people to park their cars in it for the winter during, just park their cars in an existing building during the winter is all I got from it.
Max, I would think that the board would not do itself justice or this gentleman justice if you try to just fit this in with just a fly-by-night approach. So I would be in the majority here with the other members. I just don't think you do justice to us or the actual gentleman.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'll concede that I think with this being the Zoom meeting, I think usually it was fine in the past, I'd say, because you can make a quick thing while the person is just here as well.
And you can
As you
copy
said-
stuff in the office and give us hard copy. Yeah. Okay, so let's not spend more time on it than we would spend actually talking to him. But I just think,
I'll just work with him to get an
yeah,
application.
right. No offense to his, I think it was a nice offer for him to offer to call in and introduce the idea, but I don't think we're going to be helpful enough to, so.
Right.
Okay, great, thanks. Okay, so, Max, did you have anything else coming up next month or any other comments you wanted to make?
Just Matt and this person for 944 Old Route 1.
Okay. Any other comments or from the planning board members?
Max, I have a question. Do you think we're going to keep doing this for the next several months, or are we ever going to come back to the meeting, the boardroom?
That I leave up to the board. I know that there are some people in the camp. Let's come back, let's do it, and some who want to still do these Zoom meetings. I'm I'm gonna be in both camps because I like the interactions here at the town office, but on the other hand, I just got it so that this works, and I can do it on. I can do it live as well. I don't want it to go to waste.
Yeah.
Okay. If I'm hearing.
You just
from that,
gotta
you
get
have a
Sarah
foot
to
in
work.
Yeah,
Yes.
in both camps.
Now,
Yeah.
another option is, and I did this. Well, the land use committee did this on Monday, where we did.
Well, and now you've frozen, Max.
You froze it. Max, you froze.
That's pretty funny.
Just as he's saying he just got it together.
Don't you want to just tickle him?
Oh,
Max is
gosh.
frozen in time. Oh, that's funny.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, he's
there you
back.
Gosh, there we go.
Thank
Okay.
goodness. All right, sorry. You guys,
That's all right.
connection was unstable. I was talking and you guys were just frozen. So
Yeah.
I take it was the other way around.
Well, we outnumber
Yes,
you in this
yes.
case. Yeah.
I'm watching on YouTube right now.
Yeah, we were all
That's your
talking and
problem.
laughing, and you were just a stick. So
So what was the last thing I said?
just
that
got
you
it
were in-
working.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
were
what you
both
did at the
kids.
land use commission, land use
Yeah.
committee.
Yes. Some people who want to come here because they feel they don't have a good connection, they can come to the town office, and anyone who wants to do it via Zoom can still do it via Zoom if they would like to do that.
That works.
And if
Max, this is, yeah.
Sorry,
It's
Sarah.
Sarah. I have a question. I couldn't get the Zoom to work again tonight,
Right.
and the phone connection is not so great. And I was wondering if there was a convenient time that I could call you and explain to you what happens, and you could tell me what I'm doing wrong.
Yeah, Sarah, I can help you with trying to have this fixed next time.
Okay. Because I have not had a problem with Zoom meetings prior to this. So I don't know what the issue is really.
Mhm.
We can try that next week or sometime before the next meeting.
Okay.
I'd like to just reconfirm the position I took before. I want to be at the other end of Zoom until somebody comes up with a injection of some sort that makes us all immune.
Happy.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm living in quarantine, guys.
Yeah.
Well, I think
Well, and-
I think if I recall governor's executive order correctly, as long as it's still going on, well, once that executive order, the stay-at-home order ends, 30 days after that is how long we're still allowed to do the Zoom meetings. Because once that's done, unless the legislature has taken action, yes, this is one of the reasons we haven't been able to do these meetings in the past. It's an annoying thing, I'd say.
So you're saying that legally, because this is, the planning board is a legal entity,
Right.
that we would not be allowed to continue Zoom meetings once the
Executive
order is
order,
lifted?
a month after the executive order, yes.
Because the public can't come and sit in on the meetings readily.
Wow, okay.
It was that, and I think there was fear of like members not showing their faces, so people don't get to know who's destroying the town. There was a lot
Okay.
of things. There was a
Okay.
lot of fear-based things, but I think with everything that's happening, once the
So-
executive order is lifted, I hope the legislature will make this more of a permanent thing for people
Okay.
who want medical.
So that might be worth, in fact, that might be worth lobbying for. Because
Yes,
my
I'll
personal,
get on
what
that.
I would, before you said that,
Mhm.
I was going to say that, I mean, this is a volunteer group and that everyone should get the benefit of being able to make their own health decision about whether they want to go into the town. Because I like the idea, Max, and if you can pull it off, of people who want to, if anybody wants to come to the town hall and meet, and you're willing to do it, is fine. But then anyone else who wishes to could participate by Zoom, I would fully support that because I think everybody ought to get the benefit of being able to make their own health decision in this case. If we're going to be legally required to go into attendance, that's a whole different thing to wrestle with.
Yeah.
So,
And just quickly on a side thing, Sarah Rubin said that maybe you should check your iPad for any updates because that might be what the problem is.
You mean that I need to update?
Right.
Yeah, every time Monday night and tonight, when I tried to get on Zoom, it said that I needed to do updates.
Yeah.
So I did.
That's it.
And then I keep getting the same message back every time I try to get back into the system.
Re-download Zoom.
Yeah. Or
Okay.
totally reboot your computer. Do you shut your
Reboot your
computer
computer.
off when you're not using it?
Shut it
Yeah,
off
well, I
completely.
did that between Monday and Wednesday. I mean, I shut the computer off every day.
Hmm.
I think you just need to re-download Zoom because I had the same problem with the Apple computer. I just re-downloaded it entirely and it was fine.
Okay. Okay, I'll see what I can do.
well, yeah.
But
and
sorry
then-
that I sidetracked us there.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. So do we have anything else we need to discuss tonight?
I'd move for adjournment.
oh, just very quickly, I won't be collecting signatures tonight. I'm gonna do that maybe next week.
Okay,
Just
just
so
be in
people-
touch. Okay,
I'll
perfect,
send out an email when I'm doing so.
great. Anything else before I hear a second on the motion to adjourn?
Nope.
Motion's been
Nope.
made and seconded.
I second
There
it.
being no yep, Barbara seconded. All those in favor signify aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
Opposed?
We are adjourned. Thank you very much. Thank you, Alex, for coming.
Well, thank you for having me.
Ending.
Nice
Ted,
to
good
see you,
your
Ted.
face again.
Thank
It's been a
you.
while.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Take care,
All right.
everyone.
Okay, you
Yeah.
too.